Hello everyone, Josh from MC2000 here, and we're back again. We're going to be talking about some of the LVO reveals that we've had. So, let's start by looking at this roadmap they've shown off first, shall we? I know, exciting. So, releasing now, we have the Astra Militarum, Emperor's Children, and Eldari. Now, I presume this roadmap is going to be all the stuff that's releasing this year. So, they're saying the Year of Chaos, and we have some loyalist stuff in here, but let's start with the ones that are coming next. We have World Eaters, Death Guard, and Thousand Suns. Death Guard, they've already shown off renders for a model because it got the same treatment as Dante, where it got accidentally leaked because it was sent to someone. So that's what we've got for Death Guard so far. Thousand Suns and World Eaters, we don't really know anything, but we can guess a few things for each of these three when we look at the World Eaters in a moment. This piece of artwork here is definitely the Grey Knight artwork from 9th edition. This here is definitely the Black Templars from 9th edition. It's literally the same artwork. This one is Chaos Knights because it's War Dog. And then this here looks to either be Salamanders or Legion of the Damned, which I don't know, considering how many detachments Space Marines already have, do they really need another codex? I don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest. I thought the whole point of 10th edition was we were supposed to be cutting down on the pointless bloat and, having all the extra rules for this and that sub-faction which lock you into running this, I don't know. We'll see when it comes out. Maybe there's some stuff with it that's really good that we'll all be happy with, but I don't know. There's already a lot of Space Marine releases this edition. I don't think we need to be focusing on more of them when there's other people that are still yet to have their codex, and we're coming up on the second year of the edition. Because knowing how GW structure their editions lately, it's probably going to be a 3-year affair. I'd like them to make the edition longer, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So let's have a look at this Death Guard model, shall we? So we've got this reverse gripped sword with a plasma pistol. It's jerry-rigged to this backpack in a weird way. Now, the article describes that the backpack is kind of like a plague spewer thing, where it spews out plague and disease from it. But I get the feeling this is basically meant to be our on-foot lord for Death Guard that attaches to your Plague Marines, that doesn't really have it's not your Terminator Lord, because Death Guard have quite a lot of Lords in Terminator armor, because you've got Typhus, the named one, then you've got the Lord of Contagion and the Lord of Virulence, which are the ones that the one with the flamethrower and the one with the melee chain axe looking thing that was in the Dark Imperium box. This one's going to be the Lord of Pox, so I have a feeling this one's probably going to attach to your Plague Marines as opposed to your Terminators. Which, it's just, we're sandwiched in between a bunch of refreshes, as you can see down here, so I doubt we're going to get much. We might get the Necron treatment at most, where we get 3 HQ models just to fill gaps, but Death Guard have a lot of single model leaders to attach to units, so I'm quite happy with just the one unit and the codex. That's fairly just doable. Grab one of these, grab the codex, and then you're off to the races. I'm personally kind of hoping to see some rules changes with Death Guard, because I'm not a massive fan of their army rule currently, and there have been other armies that have had slight changes to things when they've gone to codex, so we'll see what we get. Now, to talk about Emperor's Children, I'm going to get this image up in big and have a closer look at it. So we've got a look at the whole range here with the various things we've got from CSM, like Rhinos, Land Raiders, Morlethine, and Helldrake. We've also got the demons here, which they have said that they're going to have the demons in the army inside the codex, which, as I was saying earlier, it's going to kind of tie back to the talking about the codexes. Oh, whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. I was gonna say it's gonna come back to talking about the other Chaos God aligned codexes which I think we're going to have the demons split up between them, like in Age of Sigmar, as opposed to being a separate codex that you can ally in. Which, I don't know, like, World Eaters, you probably want that because your range is quite slim right now. So it'll be nice to have the extra options. Thousand Suns and Death Guard, Death Guard's already got a pretty decent range. We maybe want one or two things just to round it out. Death Guard's not a bad range right now. And then you've got Thousand Suns where it's like, hey, there's a few areas you kind of lack in, but you're not as bad as World Eaters. And then you've got World Eaters and Emperor's Children where it's like, without the demons, you're looking kind of thin on the ground. So let's talk about Emperor's Children. That is an article I was reading from earlier. So first things first, we have the new Fulgrim model that was shown off over Christmas. He's getting a new book. It's about standard for all of these Splinter Chaos factions to just get a Demon Primarch to give them their thing. Next we have Lucius, which is your named character. You're already doing one better than World Eaters because World Eaters didn't get Khan updated, which I thought was kind of... I mean, World Eaters don't even have a proper foot leader. They just nick one from CSM, being the Master of Execution. But, I don't know. It's good to see Lucius has got a redo. I would have liked to have seen Khan get a resculpt with their codex last year, but... Well, not last year, probably the year before last now, because it was the end of 9th edition. But, with the codex coming out, hopefully we'll get Khan and a few other bits and pieces, similar to how the Necrons were released. This thing is, as I've said, we're sandwiched between multiple refreshes with the Krieg and the Eldar, so I'm not holding up much hope for the other Chaos Gods to get loads of attention this edition, especially with Emperor's Children hitting the ground and running. So Lucius looks pretty good. And an Iron Hands model. Yeah, I'll see myself out for that joke. Now, this is our On Foot Lord. So, here you've got 3 different loadout options for it. I personally prefer the helmeted head. But that's just me. I tend to prefer giving helmets to things. One thing I will say about the studio paint job, I kind of wish there was more of the pink on here. And they'd attempted maybe to do a couple of them in the old Heresy scheme with the purple. I just feel like maybe they've overdone it with the black armor, because from what I understand it, the Emperor's Children color scheme was like pink armor with black trim, and then you had the sections that were kind of done in leopard pattern, but they've kind of gone very heavy on the black armor here, which I don't know. Maybe that was just what that particular painter wanted to do with them, but I don't know. I don't feel like it necessarily allows them to pop quite as well as they could with the details, because you've got black metallic trim right next to black armor, and I feel like if you had this armor here done pink, it might allow us to appreciate some of the trim detailing a little bit more. I know, maybe that's just me. Next we also have another ground unit. This is going to attach to your Noise Marines. So this is, I think this is basically kind of like your lieutenant type thing. But then your Noise Marines have been updated to kind of like Havoc equivalents. And the leader has that pistol you saw earlier with a power weapon. And then you've got all your noisy based weapons with your... Is it symphonic weapons? I don't remember what they called them, to be honest. Now, here you've got your 8-pound equivalent, which is your Palatine Blades. Again, considering the fact this is meant to be something that was Fulgrim's Guard from the Heresy, it would have been nice to have seen them done in, the old school paint scheme. I know, Emperor's Children is probably one of the Chaos Legions where I prefer their old Heresy scheme over the modern scheme. It's Black Legion, I prefer their modern scheme over Sons of Horus, and maybe not Lunar Wolves. I do like the Lunar Wolves, but whereas World Eaters, I feel like their Heresy one only really works if you cover it in blood effects, and I prefer the red armor with the gold trim. Pardon that brief interlude. I just had to go answer the door for a delivery. So, next on the docket are the Tormentors. These look to be your battle line units. Have both helmeted and unhelmeted options. And also, you can build them with bolters and special weapons, or bolt pistols and melee. Kind of reminds me of the way Legionaries work in CSM, to be honest, but just with knives instead of chain swords. And then showing off here is the box they're releasing. Data cards and codex are similar to the Deathcore box, and then this one is a lot more infantry heavy. You've got the one unnamed Lord, 2 squads of Noise Marines, and 2 squads of Tormentors. So that is like, and to be honest, it's a pretty basic box. Obviously, you got your transfer sheet in there, but that shouldn't really be counted in the value because they come with the kits. Again, like the Deathcore one, I think I kind of prefer the normal codex cover. The normal codex cover also represents the idea that you've got demons in here, showing off the demonettes down at the bottom. So, yep, that will be it for the releases for Emperor's Children. So, this is going to be coming out the last of the free refreshes at the start of the year. You've got Eldar before you've got this, which is all the Phoenix Lords they showed off around the same time that the Krieg got revealed. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the demons being kind of shoved into the codex of the mortal followers like in AOS. But the problem is, demons as an army's always been kind of weird with how it functions. The 9th edition codex wasn't particularly very good, because you had like one very good unit with Zinch Flamers, and then the rest of the codex kind of suffered because of it. And it was mainly because other armies were taking them as allied units. Demons themselves weren't that great. You've also got the fact of, like, running mono demons to the particular god always feels kind of lackluster because you have such limited options. And then there's also just trying to balance Undivided, which, that's something that has proven a bit of a rules headache, and I think GW may be thinking, okay, just let CSM take them as allies and let the different Chaos Gods have them in their codex, so that way they have other things alongside them. I don't know, we'll have to see how this goes. I've already heard people throwing around the terms swatted for... No, I'm already hearing people throw around the word squatted, rather. Squatted is the... To be honest, squats are a bit of a poor term for it now, because Votan are actually back. I don't know, maybe we might have to invent another term for it. Maybe Yavit. Because the worry is that demons going to be rolled into the God codexes this edition and then gone from 40k next edition and like locked to AOS, because GW have this really annoying thing of not liking armies crossing over multiple games, despite the fact demons are in all versions of the setting and as such probably should be included in all the games. And it's good to have one army that is playable amongst all the games, so if someone wants to play all the games, they can just get into demons, get the rules for each of the games, and just go to town, right? They haven't got to worry about, oh, but I can't play it in this game because they don't support it. Like that, I generally think the main big thing about demons is like, hey, if you play demons, you can play any of the games. You can run them in 40k, you can run them in Heresy with some free downloadable rules, and you can run them in AOS because that's primarily where their home is. But yeah, I don't know. I just think, I hope that come 11th edition demons don't just disappear from 40k, because that's going to be a really big miss. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes, is what I have to say on that topic, basically. We'll just see where it lands. I'm hoping that we should still be able to take demons as allied units in CSM, because it's something you've always been able to do, and I'm pretty sure one of the detachments is basically built around it. But it doesn't look like demons are getting a codex this edition. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe they do what they did with the Death Watch and update the index. Because to be honest, I kind of get the vibe Death Watch were meant to be going away this edition. And then they suddenly realised, oh wait, we can't do that because people got very angry. I have no idea what they're planning to do with demons. This is just kind of speculation land at the moment, based upon what they've done with the Emperor's Children Codex. To be honest, if they were going to throw the demons in there as well, I would have just called it Codex Slanesh instead of Codex Emperor's Children, but I suppose it's a good way to... Well, then again, it is the way they do it in AOS, because it is the Disciples of Tzeentch in AOS, or the... I don't know what the Khorne and Slanesh... I think it's Hedonites of Slanesh is the codex name. I don't really know much about AOS, to be honest. I grew up on stuff like Star Wars over Lord of the Rings. I always kind of prefer sci-fi stuff. That's just what I enjoy. So yeah, that's what I have here for the demon stuff. Let's just have one final look over some of the other stuff. So they have redone some of the skeleton stuff for the Alliance Death Armies, which is good, because they were some of the older sculpts in AOS. We also have some Black Library models, one of them being a Akkadian character from one of the books. And it's a bit like, well... I don't know. Considering the fact the Krieg refresh is still missing a few things, I'd rather this slot be taken up by another Krieg option, honestly, because we're missing the Marshal and a few other things, and I'm kind of worried they might just disappear and just be legends out of the Imperial Armor Compendium. Because like the Marshal is essentially our equivalent of Akkadian Castellum, and they got that redone in 9th edition. So I'm a bit surprised that we're not getting that done. So I don't know, a little bit disappointed with this. I'd have rather they'd have just focused on Krieg instead of throwing in a random Cadian model. But yeah, this is one of the other, like, it's from this book series. We also have an AOS one, which is one of the Cain related characters, which is the witches and stuff for the Dark Elves, I believe. I think it's basically that game's version of the Drukhari. You got some old world stuff, some more elves. To be honest, I'm surprised they're still drip feeding old world. It's really weird how they decided to release that. I'd have thought it had been a case of they just drop all the old world stuff at once and be like, here's all your old models back, guys. You know, go and have fun, kind of thing. I think it's a bit weird how they've handled the old world rollout again. Armies on Parade, not really all that bothered. And then we've got Necromunda, like, guys. Now, the Admech stuff, kind of disappointingly, this is locked to Heresy. Admech kind of needs more for the robot side of it and the actual cult mechanicum side of it, as opposed to Skitarii. So it would be nice if these units would get some data sheets in 40k as well, as opposed to just Heresy, because at the moment, Admech are kind of feeling like a slightly different flavour of Astra Militarum with how they're playing with Skitarii at the moment, and it's just not doing them any favours. I mean, their data sheet has been downgraded to be similar to a Guardsman, which is a bit of a big oof, especially when like you consider that they've made them more hoardy as a result, and it's like, well, Admech weren't really meant to be a horde, so it's kind of impacted on them in unpleasant ways, because they were already one of the more unaffordable armies, and they've just gotten worse. So I don't know, maybe bringing some of these over to 40k, some nice high cost models to allow you to bulk your list out with some decent firepower might make things a bit better, but I know GW also don't like giving out heresy data sheets to things for 40k, because like CSM has lost basically all of its Leviathan dreads from heresy, which kind of sucks, to be honest, because we only really have the Hellbrute now. But that's about it for talking over the LVO stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and pardon me, it's a bit rambly. I've, believe it or not, sat down and re-recorded this because in the previous version I kept mistakenly referring to the Emperor's Children as World Eaters, which was a bit daft, to be honest. So other than that, I will hopefully have a Warhammer War Journal video up at some point covering what I've been working on over basically the past 12 months. I've not done a Warhammer War Journal update in quite a long time. My apologies for that, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this little video just going over what's coming down the track.